Welcome to Japan, a country that locked itself away from the entire world for 250 years and still became one of the most powerful, most fascinating, most extraordinary civilizations on Earth. Ancient temples and bullet trains, samurai codes and robot engineers, the world's most Michelin-starred city, and the most perfectly brewed cup of tea you will ever taste. This is Japan. And in the next 15 minutes, we are going deep inside the file. The history, the culture, the food, the technology, and 10 facts about Japan that will genuinely stop you in your tracks. Welcome to World Tour Files. File number 002 is now open. Japan sits on the eastern edge of Asia, a chain of islands stretching over 3,000 kilometers from north to south, flanked by the Sea of Japan on one side and the vast Pacific Ocean on the other. And when we say chain of islands, we mean it. Japan consists of over 6,800 islands. Most people picture one. The reality is thousands. The four main islands, Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, hold most of the population. 124 million people, packed into a country slightly larger than Germany. Here is what surprises most people. 80% of Japan is mountains. 4/5 of the entire country is mountainous terrain, which is why its cities are so impossibly dense, and why its flat coastal plains are some of the most populated land on Earth. Japan also sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the most seismically active zone on the planet. Around 1,500 earthquakes hit Japan every single year. This geological reality has shaped Japanese engineering, architecture, and the deep psychological resilience of its people. And the climate? It changes completely depending on where you are. Hokkaido in the north gets heavy snow and cold winters. Tokyo has 4 proper seasons. Okinawa in the south is subtropical. Warm water, coral reefs, a completely different world. This is a country of extraordinary contrasts, and we are just getting started.
The ancient roots. People have lived in Japan for nearly 40,000 years. The first known culture, the Jomon, built some of the earliest pottery in human history, dating back 12,000 years. Around 300 BC, the Yayoi people arrived from Korea and China, bringing rice farming, and with it, civilization as Japan would know it. Japanese tradition holds that the nation was founded in 660 BC by Emperor Jimmu, a direct descendant of the sun goddess Amaterasu. This is why Japan calls itself Nippon, the land of the rising sun. And the imperial line that began then? It continues to this day, making Japan's royal family the oldest continuous hereditary monarchy on Earth. The Samurai Era. In 1185, military government took hold, the age of the shogun, the age of the samurai. For the next 700 years, Japan was defined by its warrior class, bound by Bushido, a code of honor built on loyalty, discipline, and the willingness to die before surrendering. The samurai era produced extraordinary castles, refined arts, and a cultural identity so powerful it still pulses through modern Japan. Then, in 1635, the shogunate did something that shocked the world. They closed Japan entirely. No foreign ships, no travel, no outside contact. For 250 years, Japan sealed itself off and grew deep. Its arts, philosophy, and culture flowering in complete isolation. The transformation. In 1853, American warships sailed into Edo Bay and forced Japan to open its ports. The humiliation triggered a revolution. In 1868, the emperor was restored to power, a teenager named Meiji.
And Japan launched the most dramatic national transformation in modern history. They sent thousands of students to Europe and America, hired over 3,000 Western experts, built railways, schools, a navy, a modern economy. And within 50 years, this formerly isolated island nation defeated Russia in war. A non-European country defeating a European empire. The world had never seen anything like it. Destruction and rebirth. World War II ended for Japan in August 1945 with the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the only use of nuclear weapons in history. The devastation was total. The economy was rubble. What happened next is one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of nations. Within 2 decades, Japan rebuilt into the world's second largest economy. Toyota, Sony, Honda, Nintendo, names that still define global culture today. Japan did not just recover, it reinvented itself again. Every chapter of Japan's history is the same story told differently. Destruction followed by rebirth, isolation followed by explosion, catastrophe followed by something the world had never seen before.
The culture and traditions. To understand Japan, you need to understand 3 words. The first is wa, harmony. Japanese society is built around collective well-being over individual need. There is even an expression, kuki wo yomu, read the air. Japanese people are expected to sense unspoken moods, read context, and respond to what is not said as much as what is. This runs through every interaction, in business, in restaurants, on trains. The second is mono no awari, the beauty of impermanence. The awareness that everything is temporary and that this makes it more beautiful. Cherry blossoms are the perfect symbol. They bloom for days, then fall. Japan has built an entire philosophy, aesthetic, and way of life around this idea. The third is kaizen, continuous improvement. Every day, slightly better than the day before. This is not a business strategy. It is a cultural value that happens to have transformed Japanese manufacturing, sport, and daily life. Japan's spiritual life blends Shinto, the indigenous religion that finds the divine in nature, mountains, rivers, and wind, with Buddhism, which arrived in the 6th century. Rather than conflict, the two merged. Most Japanese people practice both, visiting Shinto shrines for celebrations and Buddhist temples for memorials. There are over 80,000 Shinto shrines across Japan. Then there are the traditions that have survived centuries unchanged. The tea ceremony, a meditative art form that can last hours. Kabuki theater, UNESCO protected, performed since the 1600s. Sumo wrestling, a sacred Shinto ritual as much as a sport, with ranks so rare that only 73 men have ever reached the highest level in its entire history. Japanese culture treats mastery of the smallest things as the highest art. A perfectly brewed cup of tea, a single folded sheet of paper, a precisely arranged flower. In Japan, everything done with full attention becomes beautiful. The food. Tokyo has more Michelin-starred restaurants than any other city on Earth. More than Paris, more than New York. Japan as a whole has more Michelin stars than France, the country that essentially invented fine dining. This is not an accident. Japanese food philosophy, washoku, now a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage, is built on seasonal ingredients, balanced flavor, and presentation so precise, the dish looks like it was designed by an architect. Sushi in Japan is nothing like what most of the world calls sushi. A master sushi chef, an itamae, trains for a decade before being trusted to serve fish. The rice alone takes years to perfect. The fish is seasonal, regional, and chosen with the care of a jeweler selecting stones. Ramen is Japan's great comfort food, but there are as many styles as there are regions. Rich pork bone tonkatsu from Fukuoka, clear soy-based shoyu from Tokyo, thick miso broth from Sapporo.
ramen enthusiasts travel the country to compare them. Wagyu beef, particularly from Kobe, is considered by many the finest meat on earth. So marbled with fat, it melts at body temperature. And fugu, the blowfish, so potentially deadly that chefs need a government license to prepare it, and Japanese law forbids the emperor from eating it. And Japan's convenience stores, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Lawson, are not like anywhere else in the world. Fresh food, hot meals, seasonal specials, quality coffee. 55,000 stores across Japan. A genuine food culture hiding inside a corner shop.
Tokyo, the biggest city on Earth. The Greater Tokyo area is home to over 37 million people, more than the entire population of Canada. It is the largest metropolitan area on Earth. And somehow, it is one of the cleanest, safest, and most efficiently run cities on the planet. The trains are so precise that a delay of more than 60 seconds requires a public apology from the train company. The crime rate is extraordinarily low. The streets are spotless. Tokyo does not just function, it performs. At Shibuya Crossing, the world's busiest pedestrian intersection, up to 3,000 people cross simultaneously from every direction every few minutes, weaving between each other without chaos, without collision, in a kind of spontaneous human choreography. It is the perfect visual metaphor for Tokyo itself. The technology. In 1964, Japan introduced the Shinkansen bullet train, the first high-speed rail network on Earth. 60 years later, it has carried over 10 billion passengers without a single fatality from a derailment or collision. The newest maglev prototype has already hit 600 kilometers per hour in testing, faster than most commercial aircraft. Japan is the world's leading producer of industrial robots and a global pioneer of humanoid robotics. It has given the world Toyota, currently the world's largest car manufacturer, Sony, Honda, Nintendo, Panasonic, Canon, Yamaha, and 38 other Fortune Global 500 companies. And then there is Japan's cultural soft power, possibly its most underrated export. Anime, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Studio Ghibli, Dragon Ball. These are not just entertainment, they are cultural touchstones that have shaped a generation of humans globally. Japan makes the world love Japan, and it does it effortlessly.
Surprising facts about Japan. All right, this is the section where we go through the facts about Japan that nobody puts in the textbooks. Hold on. Fact 1. Japan has the world's oldest company. Kongo Gumi, a construction company that specialized in building Buddhist temples, was founded in 578 AD. It operated continuously for 1,428 years before being absorbed by a larger company in 2006. 14 centuries, one family business. Fact 2. Japan has over 5 million vending machines. That is roughly one vending machine for every 25 people. These machines sell everything. Hot coffee, cold beer, umbrellas, fresh eggs, surgical masks, neckties, rice, live lobsters, and yes, in some places, used school uniforms. Japan's vending machine culture is a world unto itself. Fact 3. The number 4 is considered unlucky. In Japanese, the number 4 is pronounced shi, which is also the word for death. As a result, many Japanese buildings skip the 4th floor entirely. Hospitals are especially careful to avoid the number. Room 4, Ward 4, Floor 4 often simply do not exist. Fact 4. There are cat islands in Japan. Several small Japanese islands have cat populations that dramatically outnumber humans. On Oshima Island, there are approximately 6 cats for every 1 human resident. The cats are descendants of animals brought to control mice on fishing boats. They have since taken over. Tourists visit specifically to be surrounded by cats. It is exactly as wonderful as it sounds. Fact 5. Japan celebrates Christmas with KFC. In the 1970s, KFC Japan ran a marketing campaign called Kurisumasu Niwa Kentucky, Kentucky for Christmas. It worked so well that eating KFC on Christmas Eve became a genuine national tradition. Today, approximately 3.6 million Japanese families celebrate Christmas with a bucket of fried chicken, often ordered weeks in advance. This is peak marketing genius. Fact 6. Japan's trains apologize for being 2 minutes late.
Japanese rail operators issue formal public apologies, sometimes signed statements, when trains are more than 2 minutes behind schedule. In 2018, a train on the Tsukuba Express line departed 20 seconds early. The company issued a formal written apology for the inconvenience. 20 seconds! Fact 7. Japan has roads that play music. Across various regions of Japan, there are specially grooved roads, called melody roads, that play a musical tune when you drive over them at the correct speed. The grooves are cut at precise intervals so that the rhythm of your tires hitting them produces a recognizable melody. Some play folk songs, some play classical pieces. Japan turned infrastructure into an instrument. Fact 8. Japan has the second highest life expectancy in the world. In 2024, there were over 2.3 million Japanese people above the age of 90, and more than 71,000 centenarians, people over 100 years old. Japan's combination of diet, community, healthcare, and purpose is studied by longevity researchers worldwide. The concept of ikigai, having a reason to get up in the morning, is considered central to Japanese well-being and long life. Japan is a country that will constantly surprise you, no matter how much you think you already know about it. Every fact opens a door to 10 more questions.
So, what is Japan? Japan is a country that has been destroyed and rebuilt, isolated and exploded open, humiliated and reborn as a world power, twice. It is a country where a 1,000-year-old Shinto shrine and a 600-kilometer-per-hour maglev train are both considered expressions of the same value. The relentless, obsessive, beautiful pursuit of doing things properly. It is a country that gave the world the bullet train and the tea ceremony, the samurai code and the PlayStation, cherry blossoms and the world's safest railway. All of it from one volcanic chain of islands on the eastern edge of Asia. Japan does not fit in a box. It never has. And that, more than anything, is why the file on Japan will never truly be closed. That is file number 002, Welcome to Japan, closed. If you enjoyed this file, hit subscribe, because we are opening a new one very soon, and it is going to be extraordinary. Drop in the comments, have you ever been to Japan? And which fact hit you hardest? Until next time, the world is bigger than you know.